Hello YouTube, my name is the Legend of DS and welcome back to Can They Be DLC. This episode is episode 8, and before we get into it, we're going to be doing a little bit different this episode because we're going to be talking about also a few Smash news that came out recently, or alleged Smash news that came out recently. But before we get into the episode, we must talk a little about something that happened this past week. That was the retirement of Reggie Fils-Aimé, that is leaving Nintendo in mid-April, I believe the 12th of April, which just sort of happens to land on a Friday, so as let people speculate, we'll be getting a direct on the 11th. I wouldn't be shocked if that happens as the final goodbye for Reggie, maybe even the mother announcement. Yeah, this came out as a shock. It's the end of an era. This E3, if we have another Spotlight event, which we will be having, if that Spotlight event happens and we don't see Miyamoto, it will be the first Nintendo event at E3 since forever that won't feature one of the three big Nintendo guys of Reggie, Miyamoto, or Iwata. Iwata obviously unfortunately passed away in 2015. Reggie is leaving in April, and Miyamoto hasn't shown up at E3 since 2015 as well. So yeah, Reggie's 57. I believe he's worth like 40 million, so he can retire and be fine. But before that, I think personally, I feel like Iwata's death might have weighed on his decision, because yeah, he's 57. He's still young. He could still go for a couple years. He could still go for a number of years. I feel like Iwata's death probably affected him more than maybe he leaned on to. Iwata was 55 when he passed away. Reggie's 57, so he's older than Iwata was when Iwata unfortunately passed. Their age difference was not that much. Honestly, I thought Reggie was both younger than older than he is. When I heard the news, I thought that Reggie was like maybe in his 40s, early 50s. That's what I thought. Then the announcement of his retirement came out. I'm like, it was a retirement, not leaving Nintendo. He's actually retiring. And I thought, well, if he's retiring, then maybe he's like older than he thought. Maybe he's like 60 something, already over 60. And then no, it came out he's 57. I think Iwata's passing weighed more on him than maybe most of us thought. Looking at it, maybe like he's older than Iwata was. And the Switch launched when he would have been 55, so around the age that Iwata passed. So I think maybe, this is obviously all speculation, that he wanted to make sure that Iwata's final project moved on and was just fine before he hang up the controllers, I guess we can call it that, and move on and have more time with his family and friends. Something that Iwata unfortunately didn't have. He didn't have the pleasure of retiring, and since he passed at 55, Reggie might have. I don't know. This is obviously all speculation, but it could. It still was a thing. And honestly, Doug Bowser, from what I've seen, I hope he does a good job. From what I've seen, I hope he's as meme-worthy as Reggie, and I cannot wait to see him. Maybe at E3, I don't know. The current president of Nintendo, Furuwata, has not hosted directs, and that was Iwata's job. But then again, Koizumi kind of took the role of presenting the directs in the Switch era. So maybe we won't see Doug Bowser take over the directs. But hopefully we will see him at the Game Awards. It's also going to be weird to see the Game Awards without Reggie. He has always been at the Game Awards announcing the Nintendo stuff, and he won't be there this year. So it's going to be a very interesting thing to happen, and we just have to now wait and see. So before we actually get into the topic of this video, we're going to talk about a little bit of the news that happened for Smash Brothers over the course of this week, and even some rumors have come out for other things not involving Smash, but will affect Smash in a major way, and even projects, videos I should say, not projects, that I'll be doing in the future regarding this series, because this kind of changes some predictions I was gonna make by something that's happening, and it might happen at the end of March. We might find out about all this at the end of March and not E3 like some people are thinking. But anyway, the news that's come out for Smash has been the data mined of what could be the Joker stage in Smash. That it's apparently mementos, I don't know how to, I think it's mementos that you say. And apparently that's been data mined as the stage, which could translate very well to the rumors we heard from Persona Central back in mid-December that said the Joker will be coming to Smash. Obviously that was after the announcement. He'll be coming to Smash. You'll have the stage be mementos, that Jack Frost would appear, and that Persona 5 R would be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Persona 5 R has been confirmed to be coming to PS4, with more news coming in April. I'm not too sure if it's April or March, but it fits the time period. And it also said that Herdrick would be coming with a male and female costume, and then the main character, a female version of the main character from, I believe, Dragon Quest N, and then the main character from Dragon Quest 11, which I also believe would have a female version. I'm not too sure if he has or not, so I cannot really say. So if all of this becomes true, great. There was also another leak that also utilized the Herdrick and Memento stage, but I believe came afterwards, and I don't think it had as much detail as the Persona 5 one. It's also the same leak that included the Minecraft Steve, that included Doom Guy, and who was the other character that included? Who was it? Oh, Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden. Okay, that took me a while to remember. But that leak I'm not going to discuss or talk about. It had Herdrick. It was Herdrick. It was because of Herdrick that people were believing in the costume swap that it said. But then again, I don't know. I'm not going to take a leak too seriously. I'm not even going to discuss it. I'm just saying that the rumor for Persona 5 seems better now. But it's something that people already were predicting, so I don't really think means much. But Herdrick being in Smash seems like a known quantity now, especially after the latest Nintendo Direct, where Nintendo very, very unabashedly is giving the push for the franchise. And funnily enough, I just saw a little bit ago that the Sora episode is still going. The comment section and views, it's over 100 views, which is awesome. But it's still going with people arguing. It has over 40 comments, and I believe it's the same group of people discussing the things, and I don't think like people should talking about who's more important or not. I'm just gonna I think it's a little bit unfair to classify Sora as a more iconic or better character, Kingdom Hearts to be more iconic or better than Dragon Quest, when it has the advantage of having Disney characters. I think if Dragon Quest did include Disney characters and was marketed with Disney, it probably would get the same amount of sales as Kingdom Hearts. I don't think it's fair to divide the games by that, or that one franchise is better when one franchise will always going to have the advantage. I also don't think it's fair to utilize sales, because one franchise never really got out of Japan as a big thing. But I still think both are equally as important for different reasons. One more important for Japan, one more important for the West, and getting crossovers over. But I do believe that any game with a crossover would sell well. Look at Jump Force. Apparently the game is terrible, but it's still selling well because it has a shit ton of anime characters. People love that. I'm not saying that Kingdom Hearts is bad. I've never played Kingdom Hearts. I've always heard good things about it, except for the story. But that's obviously the last time I'm going to pronounce myself about that video, unless for whatever reason that explodes even more, keeps on going even more, which I doubt it will. 40 comments and the video is over 3 weeks old. I don't think it's going to keep on going. But anyway, we still have to go and talk about the topic of the video, which has been almost 10 minutes, almost over 9 minutes, and I haven't talked about the topic of the video, which is Xenoblade. More specifically, Rex and Elma. I thought about it, I've been thinking about it over the past week, who could be outside of Rex and Pyra, or Rex and Elma, that could be in Super Smash Bros. The answer comes down to Malos. If nothing else, my pen just fell. If nothing else, I think these are the three characters that have a chance of being in Smash Bros. I'm going to touch on each and every one of them, and at the end I'm going to talk about who I think truly of the three can be in the game, or will be in the game, or what the likelihood is of them being in the game. on if what's gonna happen. So first things first, let's talk about Elma. Is Elma gonna be in Smash? Elma kind of feels, I made a video before E3 about who's gonna be the next Chrom/Zoroark of a character that fits Smash Brothers, that could have been in a Smash game, that was kind of a shoe-in for the next Smash Brothers game, the game of Smash Bros. That launched after that game's launched, and that felt like a shoe-in, but for whatever reason something else showed up in between the launch of its game and the release of the other game, or a character in their own games that fit better, that kind of put aside a character for something, or put aside that character. Obviously, as we all know, Chrom in Smash 4 wasn't in Smash 4 because Sakurai felt he was not going to add anything new, so he put in Robin. Lucina was a decision made way later. Was again, Chrom wasn't in because of Robin, not Lucina, and the same thing happened. And Zoroark was a Pokemon that most people, I myself, thought were going to be the shoe-in character for Generation 5 in Super Smash Bros. But then Generation 6 came along, and there goes Zoroark back into the Pokeball Pokemon. It's good to remember that Zoroark did have a movie come out, and I believe at the time I made the remark that the Zoroark of this generation, of this Smash Bros. Was going to be Elma. I thought that Zoroark was basically replaced by Greninja. The Greninja took the spot of and the role of the next Pokemon mascot, while Elma would be replaced and taken the spot of the next Xenoblade character by Rex and Pyra. But as we know, neither happened, and I don't know if Elma still has a chance, and I'm gonna get to later on if she does have a chance or not. But Elma, if she comes to Smash, she has a moveset ready for her. She could use her swords for her specials and aerials. She can use her bullets and guns for the specials. Wait, no, the sword for smashes and tilts, the guns for specials. That's how it should be. And it would work well, and even like the not the side smash, the dash attack, the dash smash, that's not a thing. The dash attack could be using the guns, could be very well like Bayonetta, it could work, and yeah, she would be an interesting character. Then we reach Rex, which is a much more complicated situation. I thought about it, and if you had asked me months ago, I would have said, before the game launch, I would have said Rex was kind of a shoe-in. It's the next Xenoblade games, Sakurai loved the game. Currently depends on a lot of stuff. And what it mostly depends on, and I think the reason why I think Rex will be completely out of the picture for this Super Smash Bros., no matter how many seasons we have, is representing the character and doing it correctly. Ridley, for example, was a character that was not in Smash Bros. For ages, not because Sakurai didn't want it, or because the fanbase didn't want it. Ridley was not in Smash, point blank, because of representing the character. For better or for worse, Ridley was always portrayed as this huge, gigantic character. And if you look, and I'm going to use, I know I'm going to shift from Metroid and talking about Ridley to talk about the Zelda franchise, but if you look up to the Zelda franchise, every character from the Zelda franchise in Smash Bros., all of them fit the same art style. So in Melee, Link, Young Link, Zelda, Sheik, and Ganondorf were all in the Ocarina of Time artwork, in the Ocarina of Time style. Then you reach Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Super Smash Bros. 4, where Link, Zelda, Sheik, and Ganondorf, non-Young Link withstanding, would all fill in that Twilight Princess art style all between the two games, with Young Link being the odd man out. Now you look at Metroid, for example, and you have Samus, and then Samus, and later Zero Suit Samus. Samus in both 64 Melee and Brawl with the, I believe, Super Metroid design, and then later on Zero Suit Samus having the Zero Mission design, which I believe would the Samus in Brawl also had the Zero Suit or the Zero Mission design for the bodywork. And then you had other M in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, not Brawl 4, and technically speaking Ultimate, for the Samus design. So as you can see, outside of Young Link, the Zelda franchise and even the Metroid franchise felt the exact same role of like every character feels connected to the same art style. Then Ridley if Sakurai wanted to include him, would have to be a character that came from Super Metroid or Fusion or Zero Mission or Other M. And those Ridleys, not only were they gigantic, they had huge wingspans. That was one of the things that Sakurai really had for Ridley, and they really weren't that well proportioned. Now we reach Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and you have in Ultimate is something very interesting. The Zelda characters, once again, that's why I brought the Zelda characters, are all from different games. Link and Sheik are from Breath of the Wild, or Sheik's design is inspired by Breath of the Wild's Sheikah armor. Then Zelda is from A Link to the Past combined with A Link Between Worlds. Toon Link is from Wind Waker. Young Link and Ganondorf are from Ocarina of Time. So all of this is an amalgamation of the franchise. Then you have the Metroid side, where you have Samus and Zero Suit from Other M. You have Dark Samus from Metroid Prime series, and you have Ridley, which I believe is inspired by the original Ridley from the NES, which is a tiny guy. He wasn't that much bigger than Samus, if at all bigger than Samus. So that's what he's inspired by. That's why Sakurai was finally able to do it. He let go of the preconceived notion of characters must follow the same art style. Young Link and Toon Link was more of an outside thing. Young Link specifically, like Sakurai brought characters in to represent characters, as you can now even have echoes with it, where the character was better represented. Sometimes the character could be a lot better represented, case in point Young Link, and even the Fire Emblem characters could all have a better representation for Fire Emblem, but they represent the characters themselves well, or well enough. And now we have that with Ridley. Ridley represents himself well, he represents the Metroid franchise well enough. It doesn't matter how many characters this franchise has, it's how well the franchise should be represented. And that's why I think that both Rex and other characters I forgot to mention would be Adam, won't be in Smash just by the complexity of their characters. I feel like that if Rex or if Adam came into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate or Super Smash Bros., they would be transforming characters. Now, if this was Smash 4, they would have been with Rex with Pyra in the back and maybe Adam with Mythra in the back. But they would be transforming characters like the Pokemon Trainer, except instead of being a Pokemon that changes in the front, like instead of being Rex in the back and then his blade is out, his Pyra, and then switches to say Rock, or switches and it's Dormark, or changes and it's Poppy, it would be him in the front with the blade in the background changing between 3 of Pyra, Rook, and maybe somebody else, or Rock and maybe somebody else they could have in there from the Xenoblade games. They have a lot of characters to choose, and then Adam would be the exact same thing but instead of that it would be very much different from what the Pokemon Trainer and Rex would be, which would be the character in the foreground changes but there's nobody in the background, or the character in the that's what I meant. So I was like really confused about that for a second for what I said, but it could still fill that role. Like it would be Adam, and Adam changes and in comes Mythra. You change from Mythra and in comes Minoth, which is the third blade in that game, a part of your core group. They could always be changing there, and it would be fun to see. That would be a cool mechanic to see, a transforming character that actually doesn't have anybody in the background controlling him or giving him the powers, although technically speaking that happens in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The characters would always be interchangeable between the three, and the same thing would happen with Rex. Now, how likely and the third character of the possibilities, fourth overall in this video, that's what I should say, is Malos. Would Malos be a good character to be in Smash? Yes, and he would work very well as a Echo Fighter for Shulk. He has a Monado. I would say that's a spoiler, but the entirety of Xenoblade Chronicles X2, Torna, the Golden Country, the artwork, the presentation is Malos with the Monado, or a Monado, so it doesn't really matter, it's not really spoilery. And it's only like really spoilers for Chapter 7, and it's a weapon that he starts using, so I don't really... It's not a story spoiler because the Monado doesn't play a part in anything. So, yeah. No, it doesn't. I was going to say, technically speaking, it could do if you count that as the battle. Like, he has a new weapon, but it never explained how he gets the Monado. It's just a weapon that he uses, so it's not really a spoiler. And yeah, but going over all of these characters, how likely is any of them to happen? Well, here's the thing. Adam with Mithra and Minoth is only possible in the next iteration of Smash Brothers. Guaranteed. If Adam has to happen, it will be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate 2 or the port of Ultimate with more characters and stuff like that. For Elma and for Rex and Malos is included with Rex, it comes down to what Nintendo has in store. Because the characters were decided by Nintendo, they weren't decided by Sakurai. So most likely they are all regarding promotion for games and stuff that's coming up in the near future. That's why the Persona character Joker is coming, because Persona is coming to Switch. That's why Herdrick is a very high likelihood of the character coming to Smash, is because of Nintendo and Square are investing in the franchise becoming big in the West, with Nintendo obviously taking the reins of the marketing. For Elma, I feel like Elma can be a possibility if and only if Xenoblade Chronicles X is getting a port, or Xenoblade Chronicles X2 is happening within this year, which doesn't seem likely, so it might be a launch for next year, which would happen in the possibility of a season 2. So for this season, for this Fighter Pass, the likelihood of Elma is actually low. Now for Rex, it comes down, Rex with Malos, it becomes a little bit different, because Rex can happen even if it's a transforming character, which I believe is the thing that would hold him back the most, would be the transformation process, which would then technically be Nintendo or the Smash team working on 3 characters all at once, which the Smash team is known for to do. It's good to remember that in June 2015, when we got the second DLC for Smash 4, it was 3 characters. It was Lucas, it was Roy, and it was Ryu. Now sure, only one of these characters was a brand new character, and the other 2 were kind of already working with characters that were already in the game, with Roy having basically the same specials as Marth and Lucina, with a few tweaks with the fire and all that, and the same and the animations, all that could be, and the moveset was just translated from Melee, so they didn't have to create a new moveset, and the same thing for Lucas, having a moveset from Smash Brawl, and his moves were already the custom moves for NES, so it worked perfectly fine. Ryu being the only new character. But then again, Rex could also utilize a lot of other what that people used. He would have a sword, so he could have the same animation as some people. The costume, technically speaking, already is there, so they could pull something from it. Obviously, the problem would be the other blades and how they would do it, and that's what it comes down to. But would Rex be it? I think Rex could be it if it's a Season 2 character, the free character, let's put it that way, from Season 2, like Piranha Plant was, a character saved for the next Smash Brothers or the port of Ultimate or whatever. But it also could be, it could happen if Nintendo decides to remake either Xenoblade Chronicles 1, which then, again, for this year doesn't feel like it would happen. It could happen in May, April, May, because we don't have a game for that, and they have a slot there ready for it. But I believe that's either going to go for the Pokemon Detective Pikachu HD to Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, and yes, we're in late February, almost March, and how can I be talking still about a game coming in April or May? I still think we might be getting a direct before that. Pokemon's definitely getting a direct, most likely on the 27th, which is the 10th anniversary of, oh, not the 10th anniversary, what am I saying? It's like the 23rd anniversary of Pokemon. It's Pokemon Day, so they might announce a new Pokemon game then, the Generation 8 announcement, and then the port. Or if Nintendo for Rex, if they don't decide to port Xenoblade Chronicles 1, if they decided like, let's do a dual pack of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 with Torna the Golden Country all in one package, all in one cartridge, and re-release it and be Xenoblade Chronicles plus Torna the Golden Country. They could put out there just a re-release of the game with the DLC to get more sales and to make the game sell better. If that would be the case, maybe I could see Nintendo being okay with including and making Rex a DLC character, maybe with Malos. And here's the thing, Malos would work, as I said, as a Echo Fighter for Shulk, maybe with something changed in one of the Monado arts to be the big differentiating between him and Shulk, or maybe not as much range on Monado, I don't know, or maybe with a different kind of side special instead of backslash being a completely different move, which is could happen. It would be interesting, but it wouldn't be coming in, I don't think, without the other Xenoblade characters or Rex from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So yeah, that'll be it for that part. So now let's go to the comment section, which I have to say first and foremost, I forgot last week to include the comments as I was reading them, and so yeah, that was my B. Then first things first, we also need to note is that Terry Severson this will be the first week that he's not included in the comment section, since I believe the first episode, or technically speaking the second episode. So in every other episode he has been included apart from this one, mostly because he didn't leave a comment, which is kind of sad. He ended the streak. So first things first, it was a comment by Enigma asking if I can do an episode or on Crash Bandicoot's chances. I don't know why it took me so long to read that. And yeah, Crash Bandicoot is an episode that I want to do. But I first want to do these 5 episodes of Nintendo franchises. Then I want to do one on Microsoft, more specifically Banjo and Kazooie, because of what happened this week with the whole rumors about Scalebound and then Game Pass coming to Switch, and apparently the potential of either Ori and the Blind Forest, Cuphead, and one of 3 of either of Halo, Forza, and Gears of War coming to Switch as native ports. So yeah, we have to wait and see. But yeah, Crash Bandicoot along with Spyro will be definitely an episode after I do that. Then we had a bunch again from Gen and Tice. One, it's it was called the Spear in Mario Kart, in Mortal Kombat 9 move list, the Scorpion thing, which again, and I'm sinking in this chair for whatever reason, which again, then it just let me just say, what the hell, NetherRealms, that's not a spear. Why call it a spear when it's not a spear? Why, NetherRealms? I don't know why I have a pen in my hand, I'm not using it. Then, correcting me on something that I said last week about Genesect being a Generation 5 Pokemon, I probably said Generation 6. And this wrecked my brain. I was like, I never make this mistake. I always know when the Pokemon, what generation they're from, and typing. I will probably get wrong moves that they have, or forget who uses it in the games, but I always remember generations and typings stay in my head. So why didn't this stay, or why I missaid it? And I think it has all come down to Nintendo and the Pokemon Company having Genesect be the Pokemon for the Generation 6 movie. Every Pokemon generation has a movie before it launches to introduce us to that generation, and Generation 6's movie was Genesect and Mega Mewtwo Y as the main Pokemon. That's why I forgot. That's why my brain, for whatever reason, made the Genesect as the Generation 6 Pokemon. Then he said Xenoblade next, I'm really feeling it. The memes continue on. In how long has it been since we've seen... I mean, there have been older memes that are still floating around, so obviously this one would obviously still be, and it's appropriate. I'm not trying to say something that is bad or it's bad. I don't know how. I'm gonna be quiet about that one now, because I'm just bearing. Why did I grabbed onto the pen again? Why was I grabbing onto that pen? I'm just keeping. I'm still bearing myself. But anyway, another comment, which was actually a good idea. A few obscure Nintendo characters you could do. Also are Fossil Fido, Bubbles from Cool Land, and Jill from Drill Doozer. I would do obscure characters, but I feel like those are better left for either for a season 2, or the free character for season 2, let's put it that way, if season 2 happens, like Piranha Plant was it. If you had told me like guess 6 characters for Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC, one of them would be free for a while, and then 5 would be a part of a Fighter's Pass, I would have never said Piranha Plant. So I feel like the mid one, the one that's free, if we have another free one for Generation 6, why do I keep going with generations? For season 2, I'll talk about it. But for now, I want to keep like with characters that actually stand a chance, mostly because it's Nintendo's choosing it. If it was Sakurai, any of these characters would probably have a high chance. But with Sakurai not choosing, the probabilities of them going, unless Nintendo is remaking one of these or making a new Fossil Fighters, they're not happening, unfortunately. And then finally, he said, I would like to see a Pokemon from Generation 3 and 5. Samurott, Saw, and Haxorus would be great represents for Generation 5. Blaziken, Shifty, and Absol would be great Generation 3 Pokemon to feature as playable Pokemon. And I completely agree on that. And I'm kind of doing something for next week. That I'm doing a what if scenario. I want to do what if scenarios for Smash Brothers. And next week I was planning on starting it. I actually was going to start it today or this week, today, the day of this recording, with a what if Pokemon. What if every Pokemon generation got the Generation 1 treatment? And I wanted to do it for this week, but I decided to push it back one more week, begin it in March. And yeah, next week I'll be doing that, the what if, talk about every Pokemon generation, getting the exact same number of characters and the exact same number of representation as Generation 1, and I think that's a good idea. And some of these Pokemon will be included on that list, I'm not saying which ones. But yeah, that'll be it for this video and this episode of Can They Be DLC, episode 7? 7. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me in the comment section what do you think of the Xenoblade characters possibly coming into Super Smash Brothers. And next week, we're going to be talking about another character. One I think it's going to be more of the realm of people getting angry if that happens, if the characters I'm going to be talking about next week happen. And it's Fire Emblem. More specifically, Fire Emblem 3 Houses. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been the Wedge of the S. See you guys next time.